Hola a todos. Pardon my not as good webcam right now. I am, as promised, recording the video for the last of the notes for this chapter from home. And let's get right into it. Should be pretty quick. So, the final thing that I want to look at that'll be on the test for this chapter is regular present tense verbs. And the notes start out by asking, first off, what's a verb? Remember that a verb is an action word. Like in what I think is the Nike commercial, although now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it's not Nike, maybe it's Gatorade. But it's what you do. Any action that you do is a verb. So like, for example, in English, we can talk about how I run, or you walk, or he eats, or we sleep. Any of those things that you do are verbs. And English verbs can end whatever way they want. If you look at the four examples that we have here, run, walk, eat, sleep, they all end in different ways. There's no rhyme or reason to the way that each verb looks. But in Spanish, it's totally different. In Spanish, it's much simpler. All Spanish infinitives, that is, verbs that haven't yet changed, talk about how a person does it. But it's like if you say to run, to walk, to eat, to sleep, you don't yet know who's doing those actions. All Spanish infinitives end in one of three ways. They end either in AR, in ER, or in IR. And again, this should be review. So an example of an AR verb would be hablar, an example of an ER verb would be comer, and an example of an IR verb would be escribir. So those are the examples that we'll look at through these notes. And then there are a bunch of other verbs, regular verbs that we'll go through on Monday. So to talk about how different people do different things, all you have to do is just drop the AR, the ER, or the IR and find what we'll call the stem. And the stem is just what you find if you drop those letters. So if you look here from hablar, drop the AR, your stem would be habl. If you drop the ER from comer, your stem would be com. And if you drop the IR from escribir, your stem would be escrib. And so what you'll do to those stems is just add the different endings to talk about who is doing the action. And I'm sure we're all hopefully very familiar with this. For AR verbs, your endings, you see there in bold. So you'd say, like if I, for example, speak, you'd say yo hablo. If you speak, tú hablas. If she or he or you formal speak, él y usted habla. We speak, nosotros hablamos. Remember, nosotros, we don't really care about. It would be habláis, but it's crossed out because it's not going to show up in this class. And for they speak, ellos y ustedes hablan. For ER verbs like comer, it would be yo como, tú comes, él y usted come, nosotros comemos, and ellos, ellas, ustedes comen. And then let me see if I can move myself. There I go. So put me directly in the middle. Yeah. So for escribir, for IR verbs, it would be yo escribo, tú escribes, él y usted escribe, nosotros escribimos, and ellos, ellas, ustedes escriben. And you'll note, with ER verbs and IR verbs, they all have the same exact endings, O, ES, E, and EN, the one exception being comemos ends in EMOS, and IR verbs end in IMOS. So if you want to go to the next page, I'll give you about a minute or so here. Actually, no, scratch that. What you can just do is pause this video if you want to go on to the next page and do the examples that you see there. Try to conjugate those verbs. And what I'll do here in a second is go down and take a look at what the answers would be. So hopefully you paused me and done them, and here would be the answers. So for Natalia, it would be Natalia canta en el coro. Natalia sings in the choir. Yo nado en la piscina. I swim in the pool. Nosotros compramos una computadora en Best Buy. We buy a computer at Best Buy. Ellos escriben la tarea. They write the homework. And then mi amigo Juan come una pizza completa. My friend Juan eats an entire pizza. And the last one is a bonus, so to speak. Like I said, vosotros we don't really care about, but it would be vosotros compartís el almuerzo. You all share lunch. So chicos, this one I kept a little bit shorter. Again, here is the 5-man chart, or excuse me, well, 5-man or 6-man depending on if you include los otros or not. And as always, I'll take any questions about that when we next see each other. But other than that, as long as you are familiar with this and you're good to go, then that is really just your homework. Just make sure that you're familiar with this chart when you come into class. So hope everybody's a good weekend. This is 5 minutes, so hopefully it was a little bit shorter for you. And we'll see each other on Monday. Nos vemos. Adios.